Today's March 28th, 2021. There's many reasons why there's some subjects that I prefer not posting about because, the paradigm isn't even close to shifting on these things, that it would be, making me be involved in confrontations that are missing the point. For example, even if we look at people that most even specialists would consider are not racists, or they're not they don't objectify women, or they don't see different subclasses or ethnicities or skin tones as having different levels of value in their core beliefs or worldviews. It's there, the systemic ignorance on everything that you guys want to use systemic as a word in. It's in everything. And until you have the right conversations, I'm gonna just be observing as the doctor of humanics, a professor in sociocybernetics from the sides, because you're not at a stage where you're ready for my help. And for example, are you having conversations about women doing this to women, for example? Canada is not exempt to this, and I don't mean what you think I mean here. Let me give you examples of what I mean. Do you know that a lot of people in Canada would say they are against, a genital mutilation that's happening to young girls in Africa? Well, do you know that that's not stopping, and it's probably never going to stop? And do you know that a lot of the girls that are going to get this done are being groomed and prepared by their mothers or aunts or grandmothers who have had this done, who know how horrible it is? And it's a cultural pattern of ignorance that's causing it to repeat. It's not just men grabbing the girls and they're all ganging up on her. It's a cultural thing. So these things are not going to get better. They're going to get worse, because you're adding more drugs, more guns, more mental health, more ignorance in your cultures, even in your mental health and education systems. So again, I know a lot of Asian communities near me in Canada where I can tell, or that I've interacted with, whether they're from the Philippines or China or Korea or Japan, where the monetary paradigm, which takes away human value and puts it into this magical concept that isn't real. It's not part of the real world. It's something that parents, including the moms, are training their daughters to become objects or sell themselves and part of their human rights and humanity in some way for this monetary paradigm. Look at the sign of one of the businesses where acts of violence happened. I mean, if you put these words, whether it's the name, whether it's an Asian name, and of course, look what we allow online. And police officers might say, oh yeah, this kind of sex online this one helps us find the predators we're looking for. Well, when you leave it on there as a strategy, you are promoting objectifying women, right? And having it be almost a norm, a thing to crave. And if somebody is fighting these cravings and there's no support system, and guns are easily available, and even a knife, then of course these things are going to happen. You're not in the right conversations about systemic ignorance, which includes your 9 out of 10 nice people in society, which includes people that are going to the demonstrations to fight against this stuff. They are largely part of it in some way that is beyond what you're capable of participating in discussions in right now. So it's sad for me to see. I mean, there's hope, but it's too little too late, and it's mostly not the right conversations to try to catch up to this too little too late. And it requires more than apologies. It requires commitments. It's not a good time in history to be a politician right now, because if you really, and if you're silly enough to think you're going to fix things from the inside, the way you're going to do it is to be able to only do one term, and then you'll be burned out and you'll be incredibly unpopular and you will have damaged your health And you'll have to look over your shoulder for the rest of your life if you want to make the hard decisions that would be also related to accountability and responsibility. And I'm not saying don't go into politics, but I'm saying go into politics knowing that you're getting yourself into, as there's a particular stage of this current proto-civilizations crash that is now coming into our generation's lives, that actually will make it that I wouldn't want to be a politician. And it, there's many reasons before that I wouldn't want to be. But now is like, oh man, it's hard. It's almost like in some ways it'd be bad role modeling for politicians to get their vaccines ahead of the schedule of their age group. But I think they should get access to the best mental health support system, ahead of others, because in a way, if they're actually good at their job and they're willing to understand and take on the responsibility that, holy moly, this is a losing battle. I can just do a little dent, and hopefully, some sort of thing is going to happen in the future that even our best specialists can't predict, and our actions will have counted for something, because it'll stress you out and your families, and it'll stretch you to the limits of what your poorly resilient brains, because of the wrong training that you've received being a politician, will be capable of. So I respect you in that way. I don't respect most of your decisions, and I don't respect scientists that allow themselves to be at the whim of politicians and watch the politicians and say, man, I'm glad I'm the scientist and not them. But really, you are them, because you're not standing up to the politicians. You are actually being followers in your public servant jobs. Scientists need to take charge and take over.